Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life with another episode of The Dead Pit. This is where our illustrious guests or guests choose 5 things from the world of gaming, horror and heavy metal to throw into our pit of ravenous zombies. Should I agree with their choices, in they go, where they will be torn apart and devoured, never to be seen again. Now I'm pleased, we're doing something different here. I'm pleased to welcome a member of the GBHBL team. It is Brendan.
Hi.
Yay.
It's me.
So we start off with introductions because we actually know each other. It's not as stilted. How are you doing?
I'm alright. Locked in. Getting a bit stir crazy.
Well, yeah, that's my next thing. How are you handling the lockdown?
I'm handling it fine because I'm quite a antisocial creature generally.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that I reckon once this is all over, I'll be happy to be outside for about a week, and then I want to go and lock myself in a room anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the thing that's tough, like for most people, I guess, in it is if you've got kids.
Yeah.
And you got to feel for them. They're missing their friends, they're missing school.
Yeah.
And my missus is a key worker, as you know, like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So she is still at work, so I am working full-time from home and trying my best to educate my daughter as well, keep her occupied, keep her happy, and make sure that when this all ends, because the reality of it is we're all grown-ups, aren't we?
Yep.
I'll be all right.
Yep.
I can deal with it. You just do what you got to do.
Yep.
But I'm very aware of things like the long-term impacts an extended lockdown could have on a child's mental kind of stimulation and growth, and socializing and everything like that, especially at a young age. So there you go.
As you say, it's easy for you. I'm the same, in the sense that I'm fine with going out, but if they said to me you must stay indoors for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks and whatever, fucking sweet, mate.
It's all right. I can live with all that sort of stuff, man. But I guess you it's really weird. You kind of don't there are silly things that you kind of hate doing every day that you take for granted. And as much as, like when I go to work and I get on the train, and I hate getting the train to work, especially in the commuting kind of rush hour. You know what they're like, fucking rammed full, shoulder to shoulder. I've got someone's armpit in like one ear and someone's elbow in the other ear, or somebody's handbag keeps whacking me in the back. But what I also get on those train journeys that I don't really realise the time that I miss is I also read.
Okay.
Or I listen to music and I write reviews on my phone.
Yep.
When I do stuff like that. And when you're suddenly just in the house and you're kind of like, kids up at 6, goes to bed around 8, working in the middle, you're kind of like, I don't know, weirdly, I'm like, I don't want to go to work, but I'd love to go and sit on a train for an hour, just on the train on my own, just so I can read, or listen to an album in full without having to stop and go, yes, I'll get you some crisps.
Yeah. It's weird.
Silly little things, man. But it's not about the being outside. It's not about the socialising. I think there's a lot of negative. Obviously, the people dying. There's no positives in all of that. Of course not. But there are things that I think, in a weird way, it's almost forced people to do, including myself, which are really good. By being told that we have to go for exercise close to our house and not take more than an hour.
Yeah.
And we can't go to parks and playgrounds, and we don't want to anyway either. We have kind of gone out and just gone walking around our area and exploring the area a little bit, and we found some amazing kind of like half-hour, 45-minute long walks along the river that cut through the marshes and back past all these paddocks full of horses, and all 10 minutes from our house, walking as a family. All stuff we never really felt we had time to do because it was always, we got to go and get the shopping as a family, and then we better jump in the car and drive somewhere 45 miles away to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost, I don't know. I don't want to try and make it out like there's a load of positives out of it because it's too negative a situation for far too many people.
Yep.
But I don't know. Maybe it will help readdress some of my own personal work-life balance issues. Where you get sucked into your job too much and it's always about, kind of go away. I need to work and that sort of stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it will sort me out.
In between all of that, how are you keeping busy?
That is me being busy, to be honest. I mean, generally, I am busy with work anyway. I work as an independent consultant, obviously, but currently contracted to a very large firm with about, I don't know, probably a good 2,000 employees around the UK and the Republic of Ireland. And as you can imagine, they are a construction firm. A few of their sites have been closed down. Some of them are going to be closed down, I guess. But as an office, they've all sent home, and a lot of their staff have been furloughed and everything like that. So we are, I guess, picking up the slack, which is proving to be, fucking manic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of slack to pick up. Aside from that, I'm trying to find some time each day to get back into playing guitar. Not that I was ever. When I say into, it's not like I was ever good at playing guitar, but I can do a few bits on it, and I've got 3 or 4 guitars now, and I'm trying to, I don't know, be a bit more structured with it. Trying to do like 20 minutes a day, half hour a day. Whereas I guess when you're working all the time, you always find an excuse to, just stick the telly on. I'm tired. Yeah. But here I'm like, no, do you know what? It's lunchtime. I'm at home. I'm going to grab the guitar for half an hour, get my daughter to grab hers, and that kind of gets her a bit of dad time as well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that to get back into that a bit. Still reading a lot, which is good. Lots of good books out, and that's really it. Yeah, time is being sucked up mainly by work, and then just trying to fill it in with things that I always said I didn't have time for.
Yeah.
Now suddenly do.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, you look at what's coming up this weekend that we're obviously recording this is coming up to the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
And the industry that I work in, they don't work Fridays and they don't work Mondays. They don't work on the bank holiday Good Friday and Easter Monday. They normally do work Fridays and Mondays. That'd be weird. But you look at it this time around, and they're like, "Oh, you got a 4-day weekend," and you're like, "To do what?" I'm just gonna to continue sitting in the same chair I sat in. It's almost like, "No, can I work, please?" It's like, "Yeah, but we're closed. No one's working." It's like, come on, Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit strange, man. Going on a holiday to my garden.
Yeah. We live in interesting times.
Yeah.
So let's get started then with your first nomination.
Okay. I've got a little mix on here then. So I've got a couple music, a couple video games, and a horror one. So I'm going to get the video game ones done first.
Cool.
And this one, I guess, is going to be very specific to people who play fighting games.
Okay.
And this is specifically fighting games that have combos and the mad controls for pulling off them combos.
Okay, all right.
Okay. I don't know how much you play fighting games these days. I still play them a fair bit, like the Tekkens and new Street Fighters and everything like that. And I've basically written, like, what the fuck is it with these things? Achievement will be perform 10 ultra combos. You check the move list, and it's an 86 long button press sequence, including like half turns of the stick, then followed by a quarter turn anti-clockwise and a ton of other buttons. They have to be pressed in the exact sequence with perfect timing, and they only work as long as the character you're fighting happens to be perfectly still in the exact starting position required. To pull this one off, your combatant, your opponent, must be in the air. And it's like, well, he's not in the fucking air, is he? He's never in the air. He's standing there hitting me. Can't ask him to jump and then wait for me to try and then start this 86 button move. I remember like the good old days, man, like Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition on the Mega Drive. Mm-hmm. Every person I know could still pull off a fireball with Ryu now.
Yeah. Forward.
You know what I mean? And that was your special move. And then I think around that time, Killer Instinct kind of come out.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's the one that started it. And that was like, but you get some games that kind of, they try and simplify it, so you have to start a combo, and then the combo will continue as long as you're kind of pressing certain buttons. And then you get games like your Tekkens and your kind of modern iterations of the Street Fighters and stuff like that, and you look at it, or like Dead or Alive is another one, and you look at the list when it says like this is what an ultra combo is or a mega combo, and it is like, it's like, first of all, how the fuck am I going to remember this?
Yeah.
I did write down that perhaps it's like age. Do you know what I mean? It's like maybe back in the day when I was younger, pulling these off was the thing that you would just do naturally and pick up. But I look at that and I think, like, how can I remember all of those sequences? And I'm trying to do it, and all the guy in the screen will be doing is just punch like that while I'm getting my ass kicked. You just think like, yeah. So that's my first nomination is the overly complex combo controls in fighting games.
So
it sucks the fun out of it, mate.
Yeah, when you first said it, my head was like, no, that can't go in, right? It can't, because ultimately that comes down to you're just not good enough. However, I can relate 100% because I also fucking suck at it. But I suck at it in to such a point where I hate all fighting games to a degree.
Yeah.
For the moves. So even going to a Mortal Kombat and doing any standard move and it being like...
Especially the finishing ones on Mortal Kombat.
Up, down, left.
Oh yeah, you've got 3 seconds to do it as well, otherwise he just flops to the floor.
Yeah.
And it's so disappointing when he flops. You're like, oh man.
It's just not fun.
No.
And Killer Instinct's the one. That's probably the last major fighting game I put time into.
Yeah.
And it'd be so many combos, and I hated it. I hated all of that.
You feel like real pride, you know, when you pull off like a 16 hitter or something like that, and then somebody's doing like a 192 hit combo, and you're like, how the fuck are you doing that? But I don't understand why they need it to be that way. You know, it's not like a mastery challenge. You're a gamer. You play games a lot more than I do, and you probably class yourself as good at video games.
Some,
you know. I don't see, like, it doesn't add fun to the game. It doesn't add entertainment value to the game.
Mm-hmm.
It may add a challenge to a very, very small percentage of people in the world who want that, but also I still believe that the majority of people play video games for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And when you then get down the route of tying trophies and achievements into your ability to pull them off, I don't know, I guess on one side I can see the argument to say, well, it is an achievement.
Yep.
But is it like an achievement, is it a stretch too far? You know?
It's certainly something. It's a system that rewards you for putting, like practicing, isn't it? Like getting good at anything.
I mean, like serious hours. You'd have to be to even get to the point of remembering the 86 button string. You know, you could put it in front of me now, and I could just try and memorize the 86 buttons for now. Forget the hand part of it, and then ask me if I could say those. I bet I get them wrong.
Yeah,
I get 10 or 15 in.
I'd imagine you're the same as me. To do that, you have to choose a character and decide that's the character you are going to play as, the only character, and you're going to get great. I never play fighting games like that.
No.
Play as everyone.
No, that's exactly what I do. It's like, I'm going to... But also the games try to make you not, because as well as having achievements for mastering something like that, they also have an achievement for finishing the arcade mode as every single character.
Yep.
You know, which alone will take you like 4 years of your fucking life. So it's not like I've got no problem with fighting games. I've got no problem with the controls generally. I have a problem with overcomplicating the controls. So the ridiculous combo controls specifically. You can still have the fighting games. You can still have combos in them, but simplify the controls and bring it back to being fun.
Yep. Yeah, ridiculous combo moves, controls. That goes in. I agree. Yeah, 1 for 1. We'll do your other gaming one.
That was my worried one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, he's not going to have this one. All right. Good luck arguing against this one. All right. Exploitative video games. And I'm going to pull out an example in particular. And this is one that I despise, like literally hate with a passion, and it is Roblox. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the game Roblox. It is a game that is marketed at children. It's essentially blocky characters similar to Minecraft. You know, in terms of how it looks, pixelated, shitty-looking characters, and it's like a database really, where people set up a character and they have a character on the database, and then there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fucking terrible mini games really on there, where they look at all our characters walking around the castle, and because we went into the game, we've now got a mermaid costume on, you know, or it's games like where you have to, you know, go across an obstacle course to go end to end.
Right.
This game in particular, so some of the things like I know I might be being extreme here with it, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because I have an 8-year-old daughter, and this game is in their age range. Now it's not legally, but it's marketed towards them, right? You know, so I've written that this game is a cancer.
Okay.
A sickening example of all that is wrong with video games, especially the free-to-play area. So it is free-to-play, but it is littered with additional costs through their own currency model called Robux. 1,000 points, Robux points for £7, which will buy you a few skins, or in some cases a little limited additional functionality, like your character can jump higher than the other characters for a while, and then the money runs out, and then you have to buy more. It's full of terrible games, some that work and many that don't work at all, because a ton of them on there are user created. The games are blatantly aimed at young children, 5 to 10-year-olds. You know, you're talking unicorns, games where they can dress up as a princess and run around a castle, pretending they're at school and doing lessons. Yeah, despite the fact that legally the game itself has to market itself as over 12s because of the fact that it has user-created content on it, which isn't as well managed, obviously, and also the fact that it is open to chat from any angle. Now you can, using your Xbox or your PlayStation, try and add some parental controls to it, but it is limited. So this game, even if you can turn off chat through your Xbox, it is near impossible to turn off this kind of IM message box in the corner where people can type whatever they want.
Really?
You know,
Wow.
so so limited parent controls, open chat message boxes, and despite all of this, there are ads and contents, and they have plenty of ads all over the internet. It's all aimed at these younger kids who then go off begging their parents for the game because all their friends are on it. You know, and then as they are like, you know, and I think it's mentioned in one of your previous one of these episodes was and then it's all there, oh, my friends have all these extra functionality.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I don't want to be the poor kid who doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Which is also a horrible thing. Anyone can buy things on there, and clever people make good money through it because you can actually pay for a subscription as a grown-up, obviously, to have a monthly payment where it's called premium.
Yeah.
This allows you to create certain items and sell them to the users for real money. You pay £5, £10 or £20 a month, with each higher bracket giving you more of a cut of the revenue raised, while Roblox themselves take the rest of it, the other percentage. It's developed by it's not a developer as such. It's literally created as this alone. It's the Roblox Corporation is the developer.
Whoa.
It is their only work, and while it looks clever, and it is clever, but it also is quite a sickening business decision that, to me, appears to be designed to target vulnerable age groups for maximum profit. As of 2019, they logged over 100 million active daily users.
Wow.
They are a super rich corporation off the bat. I think so. I know I kind of headed exploited video games, but I'm happy to drop that and put Roblox in there.
The specific, I think it should be specific because
I think it's disgusting, man. Like you know, we're grown ups, so I think we can see a little bit more what they do. They can't put an ad on showing a little child running around dressed as a princess on this free to play game.
Yeah.
They go, but it's for over 15s.
No, of course not.
It's not, mate.
Yeah.
There ain't no 15-year-old looking at that going, oh, can I have that?
Yeah, of course. It's wow. I mean, I don't know it, but I'm gonna check it out for our free to play series now specifically because obviously as a site and for my personal thing, I have a deep seated hatred for a lot of this, but normally you get a free to play game, and it's attacking one specific area, be it heavy on the ads, be it the in-app purchases, be it a subscription fee, or be it targeting children or whatever. To hear a game do all of that in one, that's incredible.
It hammers you. I mean, the one that I think, you know, out of everything that's in it, as a parent, the thing that annoys me the most is the limited kind of safety bracket, and obviously what people will say, and they are right to a degree, is but if you let your 8-year-old on it, it's on you. You know, but then you look, you know, and they're right, and because of that, she has very limited time on it, and her cousins play on it, and that causes a lot of family arguments about why she can't join in with her cousins and play, you know. But it's really this kind of adult side of it, the secret side of it, you know, the fact that I can go on there and pay Roblox 20 quid a month, and I can create my own market on there, and I can sell, oh look, I made a pixelated wand.
Yeah.
You can have that for 150 Robux. And all you got to do is get a hit with a kid. And that's it. All the kids want it. All the parents are getting hassled. And then Roblox Corporation are taking their cut, and the other adults are taking their cut. Amazing. You know, I find that like that's not a game anymore. That's not a game. It's quite horrid, I think.
Yeah, it's sleazy. It sounds all underground and hidden.
Yeah, it does. And you know, it's probably not quite as dark maybe in real life as it is, but in my head it's like Donald Trump kind of corporation game. Do you know what I mean? Like all these dodgy politicians all sitting there going, let's make the kids fat and make them, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out like Boris Johnson had a premium account and was selling wands to children.
No, not Boris. Matt Hancock. Him, he's the one doing that shit.
He's the one.
Yeah, of course. Are you kidding me? It sounds an incredible. I mean, even if you hadn't gone to that much detail.
I'd be interested to see your opinion on it, having looked into it a bit.
That's my project for the weekend then.
Yeah.
Right, before we move on to your next ones then, you mentioned at the start reading. So you like reading?
I read every day of my life.
Yeah, not so much what you're reading now then, but off the top of your head, without numbering them or putting them in a particular list,
Yeah.
if you were to, someone came to you and said, look, I've never read a book before in my life.
I would slap that bitch silly.
Yeah, it's stupid, but what would you give a person? A couple of books?
It does kind of depend, obviously, on the person, doesn't it?
No, they're fine with anything. They're up for anything.
They're fine with anything. The book I would really, really recommend at the moment for anyone to read, to be honest, and it's also it's a short-ish story. It's more of a novella than a kind of encyclopedia. It's a book called A Quiet Apocalypse, which is by an author that we both know quite well, called Dave Jeffrey.
Of course.
It's not his new. It's about maybe about a year old. I don't know, around that sort of mark, and it's one of the most, I guess, suspense-filled books I've read in many a year. It's a short novella. It is obviously about an apocalypse.
Yep.
It's also about a quiet one. It's literally, I guess, the kind of premise of it is around when everyone died, or when a large swathe of the population died, the ones who didn't were left without hearing. But there are a collection of people who can still hear.
Yeah.
And they are kind of traded as a commodity for the ones who can't hear, to keep them safe.
Right.
So held prisoner, captured, like legs broken so they can't run, because obviously they couldn't hear you run, and they're almost kept like you might keep a guard dog, chained to a pole to warn of anyone approaching.
Yeah, okay.
Because they can hear. And it kind of goes down that route, which is I thought was quite a nice take on it. It was different, and it's strange to listen to it, to read it, because it's not. This isn't post-apocalyptic fiction as we would maybe know it. The books that are churned out 10 a month by all sorts of independent authors, and it's there's been a zombie apocalypse, or there's a virus, and it's all balls to the wall action and people running and trying to survive. And this is it's almost like a gentle walk in the park, reading about this kind of collapsed civilization and how quickly we turned and took the people that probably could have helped lead us to a new salvation and turned them into a commodity to trade, because there were more people who couldn't hear. And it's the greater the majority is, I guess, is the real power. But it's also a book I really, really enjoy for its ending, which I won't give away here, but I do very much enjoy a book that has an unhappy ending.
Okay, fair enough.
I think I encouraged my wife to read it, and she read it, and her kind of reaction at the end of it was like, well, I'm just going to go and kill myself. So, but yeah, it's a fantastic story, and that's one that I've been raving about to a lot of people, and people who have said, oh, you got any recommendations? I'm like, yeah, you got to get on A Quiet Apocalypse. It's a fantastic story.
What about a classic book going back?
Well, I don't want to take up 4 hours of your video time talking about the Dark Tower series.
Oh, well, yeah.
That would be an obvious jump in if I was going back to classic. The book that I would always give everybody is Wizard and Glass, book 4 of the Dark Tower series. I guess going back a little bit and going a bit in the same vein, but not quite that, but a book that maybe bypass some people is called The Fireman. And this is by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son, so Joe Hillstrom King. And this was actually the first Joe Hill book I read, although I'd seen a few films that had been converted of his to books, like Horns. Horns is a Joe Hill book.
Radcliffe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I'd seen that film, but I'd never read the book. So then I watched. I read The Fireman, and I was like, I'll give this a go. It sounded pretty good. And this again is kind of in that horror sci-fi apocalypse sort of area, although we're not talking zombies or anything like that. The world is being wiped out bit by bit, and it sounds really cheesy when I explain this, but there is a dude who happens to help a lot of people out, and he does wear a fireman's outfit because he was a fireman. And you're like, okay, what the fuck? But obviously, this book is big. It's a lot of and there's a lot of depth to it, a lot of brilliant character development. He definitely seems to have picked that up from his dad, from the book side of things anyway. And that was really the book that I guess really sold me on Joe Hill. And since then, I've read every single book that he's released, of which I really, really like most of them. He does do some comics as well, which I'm not a fan of. I did give a go, but not really for me. I guess I don't know, some people like comics, some don't. It's not really my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Joe Hill's The Fireman. and Dave Jeffries' A Quiet Apocalypse, two of the best books I've read in different time periods. I guess Fireman's probably going back 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
Whereas A Quiet Apocalypse, like I said, that's within this last few months that it's available.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Right. Your horror next. You said you had a horror one, right?
I do. I've got one horror one.
Perfect.
Okay, so this is a specific, very, very specific thing in horror movies, and this is volume jumps. Now, we know that there are a lot of scare tactics used in films.
Of course.
From jump scares, gore, camera splashes, a sudden turn, where they're looking in a mirror and they quickly turn behind them. And there's nothing there, and then you turn back and it's like, oh shit.
Yep.
How did I not see
Classic
that?
Trope, yeah.
And some of it works, and I'm all right with it. I think they pretty much use everything they've got. And despite them all being known, and they're probably all pretty predictable now, like I said, I'm okay with them all except for one, and it is the sudden change in volume.
Yep.
Where I don't know why they do it. It's just all of a sudden you're like all scrambling across the fucking floor trying to grab the remote to turn it down because I've got an 8-year-old asleep upstairs. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And now I have to sit there for the rest of the movie with the remote control in my hand, poised over the mute button or the down button for the next time they suddenly throw some huge like orchestral sound in, just to try and make us jump a bit. But that's not like horror. That's not jumping because of anything that's happened in the film. That's like somebody walking up behind you and going, ugh. And you go, oh, fucking hell.
I was about to say,
it's nothing to do with the film. It's like, well, I don't understand how it can be used as a film trope to try and like create any kind of atmosphere or anything like that when it's just like an annoying prick walking up behind you while you're listening to music and shouting in your ear.
Yeah, so I'm trying to picture what you mean, because I initially thought you meant the sort of sharp jolt of noise you get when you get a jump scare. So
it can be the same. It can be that as well. I've seen it in a couple of films, and I probably should have given you examples, but I think it might have actually been The Conjuring, or maybe The Conjuring 2, where it was a sudden increase in the music.
This is the violin shit, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Where it suddenly go really loud.
Mm.
And it was I didn't really feel like it was adding like to the tension or anything like that, and I quite like that film, and I thought the fact they didn't really go CGI and everything, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it was using makeup, but the tension can be built better by keeping a constant kind of background noise of music.
Yeah.
And the sudden increase of and you're like, okay, I get that you want to increase the tension, but the volume shouldn't be going up.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you'd have that. Like, you'd have the volume of a movie like the volume of a CD. It'd be like when you listen to a CD and you listen to it, and every now and then they go, to emphasize the guitar solo, it suddenly goes like 45 decibels higher, and you're like, what the fuck? That's not how you record things. You record them at a steady level. Well, at least that's what I want them to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I expect them to do. And and I genuinely, I will have films where I sit there, and not just films, it happens in shows as well, so it does get used in non-horror as well, but I think for me, I remember it most from certain horror movies. And like you said, it might be the sudden turnaround where, you get like kind of gentle creeping bass line, and then somebody looks in a mirror and they see something behind them, turn around, and there's a momentary kind of bang, or a flash of noise.
Yeah.
And I find that fucking irritating too. To be honest with you, because what I want to be doing at that moment in time is concentrating on what's happening in the film, not jumping for a remote control so I can quickly turn it down because my neighbour's banging on the wall going, what the fuck are you doing in there, mate? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to watch a film.
Oh god. Right.
So, yeah, there you go.
As strong and passionate as you speak, this can't go in.
What?
Because I won't.
I quit. I work here, mate.
I will not put any horror trope in, no matter how tired and overused they might be, or how pointless they might seem. Is because without them, horror doesn't exist.
No, I agree with you, but I guess my argument is that increasing the volume of something is not a horror trope. It's a mistake, an error.
Yeah, see, I don't know what movies you're watching, but
I'll come back. I'll have to get some examples for you and come back, and I'll get you to watch it, and then we'll do like in a month's time. We'll get like a little video of you on here going reverting back to Brendan's video. That's going in.
Well, yeah, I can always re-edit it back in, but yeah, no, this one stays out.
All right, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I just won't watch their films. Fuck them.
So before we get into the music, then, you've been going to gigs all your life, very,
I
very
did.
young age, and
Yeah.
I guess it's not so much because this is on the spot. I haven't given you a chance to even think about this. When you think back to everything from now to the very first gig you ever went back in, what are some of your strongest memories that stand out from gigs?
I got loads.
Go on.
Most of them are quite comical.
Yeah, share some.
My first memory, actually, the one that always comes back to my mind, is around the first gig that I ever went to. So I would have been, I don't know, man, maybe 14, something like that. Maybe 15, I don't know. And I was into metal big time.
Yep.
You know, I was wearing t-shirts, band t-shirts, but you know where you used to cut the sleeves off at the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then bit by bit, the arm bit down the side would get longer
and longer. Yeah.
I was wearing chains, military style combat trousers, big black boots, all open up, you know, with the combats kind of hanging in them. That was very much a stereotype of an era, but I was comfortable with it. I was happy with it.
Yeah.
You know, and that was kind of stuff we were into. And I started getting, the first gig I went to was Cradle of Filth. And I was, I guess, didn't really know what to expect because I'd become a fan of the band.
Yeah.
But without having ever been to a gig before. So obviously we're off to the gig, and me and a friend, and we got our probably looking relatively twin-like because we're a different band t-shirt, but other than that you got the same combats on, the same chains, and you know, the same boots and everything. And then get into the crowd and kind of walking down the crowd outside the Astoria, you know, we used to go down the alleyway and then round to a bit, it was like a park kind of area, weren't there?
Yeah.
And as we're walking down there, just being like, every single person was in goth paint and like long leather trench coats, and we looked so out of place. It was unbelievable. I just remember that very, very well because it was the first gig I'd been to, and we went as what we saw metalers to be. Yeah. And I guess that was my first experience, really, of the different genres in metal.
Yeah.
And how different they were. It wasn't just metal was metal. The fact that we were there wearing like metal t-shirts and combats, we were stared at more than like the people that were standing there in corpse paint with mad dreadlocks and leather trench coats.
Yeah, they're thinking like, shit, these guys here to cause trouble.
Yeah, it's weird. You're kind of like, oh shit, yeah, we probably look like hardcore fans or something that, you know. And I remember like talking to my mate who I was with, and we were like, I don't think I've ever felt quite so out of place in my whole fucking life. Yeah. Now, like, you know, don't get me wrong, once I was in there in the gig and that, there was nothing like that at all. But yeah, that's probably my first memory. If anyone asks me about my first gig, it's always like about how us young, thinking we looked metal enough, went to our first metal gig and were more out of place than if we'd gone to a fucking nightclub.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. I get, probably another one that really, really sticks in mind, which is probably, I guess, my favourite. I don't know, it's hard to say that now, isn't it? Favourite gig ever. It's probably the most memorable gig for me ever, which was seeing Metallica and Machine Head play together at the O2 in Greenwich. Two of my favourite bands, like one as in from history and one who at the time was my current favourite.
Yeah.
And two bands that were so different, especially in the direction that Metallica had taken, that I would never have ever in my life thought I'd see them together. Yeah. And I used to talk about seeing them, wanting to see, if I could do my dream gig, it'd be Metallica, Machine Head, that sort of thing. I didn't have the sword in my dream gig, but aside from that, and then when it happened, and it was just, I fucking every moment of it will stick in my memory forever. But more so, James coming out to play Aesthetics of Hate with Machine Head while they played it.
What's interesting as well about that is that wasn't like the first time you saw that, but no, because it was Wembley Stadium, where they were.
Yeah, and they were separated as well, weren't they?
Yeah, with him.
By him. Yeah. Which I don't know. Yeah, so it was the second time I saw it, but I guess it felt different to me,
it's more impactful.
Yeah, but also, all right, this is probably a stupid thing to say, but it was more that Machine Head got asked to step in, didn't they? For who was it? Bullet for My Valentine or someone like that?
Yeah, Bullet.
Yeah, at the last moment. So that wasn't like a pre-planned thing. Whereas this was Metallica asking Machine Head to come out on tour with them.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like my favourite band from history telling my current favourite band that you're okay.
Yeah, validation.
And almost like affirming my choices. It's like, Brendan is correct. You're good. I was like, thank you, James.
Very good.
So that's probably a massive one for me, man. I think my gigging, like yours, has changed a lot in years though now. And while I still have a lot of love for all the big bands, I feel like I get less enjoyment now at some of the bigger shows like Machine Head and everything like that, where I've been so many times, than I do now going to see 20 minutes from a band that I've maybe only heard a couple times. You know, I think my leanings have changed a little bit, you know, now to, you know, the New Blood stage at Bloodstock is probably my favourite place to go. You know, I still love the big bands, I still want to see them, I still have a bucket list.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's changed now, so I guess I get more enjoyment now of going and seeing, I don't know, a band play to 20 people.
Yeah.
You know, that like in a small back corner of a pub.
Look at the t-shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, another good band, by the way.
Yeah.
Very good band. Sour. Don't even know what to say.
Right, you got 2 music ones to go to try and get in there.
Right, try and stop these.
Yeah, go on.
All right. First one. Which one should I go for? Okay, let's go for hardcore / dancing / slam dancing.
Damn it.
So nothing like, yeah, just straight in there. Nothing I hate more at metal gig than some bellend throwing elbows, knees, and more at people in a pit. Cartwheels, spin kicks, all of that shit, as far as I'm concerned at least, doesn't belong at a metal gig or any gig really.
Yeah.
Well, unless it's a pure up hardcore gig and that's what you've gone there for.
Yeah.
I think it's stupid, it looks stupid, it goes against everything I believe in regarding metal mosh pits, which are meant to be a collection of people losing their shit to the music, you know? We push, we shove, we climb over each other, we run around like idiots, but we never go out of our way to hurt other people who are there for the same reason as us.
Yeah.
You know, and I think too many times, like, while watching this stupid shit, you know, and this is really the kind of killer for me, is like, I get if they want to do it, and I kind of have no problem with them, you know, it's that whole Pantera stuff, innit? Be yourself, by yourself, but stay away from me.
Yeah.
But too many times now have I seen them target uninterested individuals in the crowd. You know, they'll get 4 people, you know, we saw it at the New Cross Inn, for example, where there's 4 people doing it. They're not attacking each other. You know, they're trying to push, like, you know, kick a glass out of somebody's hand in the crowd who's not interested in it. That is not metal. We don't do that shit. You know, we help people up off the floor. We don't try and kick them to the floor. Yeah. So fuck them. Yeah. I don't know what you throw in, the people or the moves.
I will get a nice, pretty picture of a hardcore pit, which should be really easy off Google Images, which will sum it up. It is to me. It's the attitude. It's the hardcore attitude, and we've talked about it in the past. As you said yourself, yeah, I of course 100% agree. We've witnessed it. We both feel the same about it. It's everything I stand against to see spin kicking and people trying to kick each other, or people standing back and watching an empty pit floor while one guy punches the air wildly is I fucking hate it. Hate it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're 3 for 4.
Yay. Right, last one.
Yeah.
I'm just going to eradicate a passage of time.
Oh, okay.
Korn's dubstep era.
Oh, okay.
Right, it's just gone, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
What were they doing then?
I don't know.
Hiatus.
Yeah, they can be on hiatus. Getting high. Doing some shit like that, I don't know. I just like, you know, if I could remove the existence of the Path of Totality and the Paradigm Shifters albums, as well as any reference to J Devil and interviews dismissing metal, you know, would be massive. I think I've always loved Korn, and that shit, you know, like we know, like I've mentioned a fair few times in my previous years, as it really changed my opinion of them, and it will have changed it probably forever. That'll always be there, you know. I'll always have like that spot about when they were dicks.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're a band that I absolutely love. That's the thing, you know. I think you can't underestimate how much of a fan of Korn I was.
Yeah.
Like absolutely huge. I used to only wear Adidas joggers if I wore joggers. That was it, because they used to only wear Adidas. So I only wore Adidas trainers. I only wore Adidas tracksuit bottoms if I was wearing them, you know. I was a massive, massive fan. And, you know, we went from that to a band I genuinely despised for the way that they, not just the music that they were putting out, but also the way they were talking about really me, you know, the fans. You know, the way they kind of dismissed us as nothing. Yeah, we were just like a stepping stone. We were never really yours to have.
Yeah.
You know, and despite the fact that, you know, I'm at, you know, buying your albums, I'm giving you money and that. Yeah. And it's that change. I went from being such a big fan of this band to feeling so let down by them. And I just feel like, you know, I would love to be able to just erase that period of time and still have that love for that band that I once had. Because I fucking adored them, you know. They'd still be one of my favourite bands. I would probably have seen them, I don't know, a few times at least. You know, I'd be excited about every time there's an interview with Jonathan Davis, or a new album coming out would have been fucking huge news to me. I think their legacy would be huge, even though we know they had some weaker albums, like even within the metal stuff. I think their legacy would be absolutely massive, and they'd definitely be a band that, I don't know. I guess whenever people say Korn to me now, my first thought is always the negative stuff before I have to push that away and try and remember the positives.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
And it's never going to change.
It's never going to change, and that's what it is. That's why I just, if I could, I don't know, some sort of science fiction style fucking memory tweak thing where you don't have to erase it, but I guess I just want to erase it from my memory. I went on hiatus from them for a few years, and it never happened, and I never knew about the interviews and anything like that. So,
oh, you don't want that to happen, because what would happen is you'd get your memory erased. You'd be like, I haven't listened to Korn in ages. Wait, there's these 2 albums I don't remember. Let me listen to them.
They'll come back to me again. Or go see them live because they're like my favourite band. Get them tattooed on my forehead, and then they play like J Devil comes out.
Groundhog Day situation, constantly wiping your memory and re-experiencing it over and over again.
Yeah. But I guess I'm pretty sure like everybody probably has that. Maybe it's not Korn, but has a moment in a band that they loved. Like it might be, I don't know, Metallica's Some Kind of Monster, or something Dave Mustaine said, or you know what I mean, where you just wish you could just wipe that away, man, because it's just a silly little thing that didn't have to happen. That's just tarnished like a genuine, what we're like with our bands. This isn't a case of I was a fan of Korn. I fucking adored this band. I worshipped the ground these guys walked on. They were life changing for me, and then they went from that to just like dismissing me like nothing. And I would very much like for that to have never happened, and still have that real fucking passion and love for this band that I had back in the day.
Again, when you started off and we're talking about the albums, I wasn't going to put it in because ultimately those albums are for but the way you put it about wiping the memory of that, and as you say, you reminded me of the whole, well, we never really thought of ourselves as a metal band. The fuck are you talking about?
That's a painful thing to say, man, because they may not have, I don't know if they meant it the way it came across, but it is dismissing every one of us.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It may not, they're talking about themselves, but by dismissing every one of us and every album purchase and every person who got a Korn tattoo, they're just literally in the space of a paragraph of talking to somebody just threw a decade's worth of love in the bin.
Yep. But they're also now happy enough to re-embrace being a metal band now.
Yeah.
So,
like none of it ever happened, and that's the bit. That's the wall, isn't it? That we have to try and get over now. When everyone goes, "Oh, what did you think of Korn?" Anyone came up to me and said, "Oh, are you a fan of Korn?" I will always say, not as much as I used to be.
Yeah.
There was this big horrible thing in the middle, but there's some really good stuff around that. And most of them look at me and go, "What are you talking about, bro?" I've only heard the song Blind.
Oh, that's excellent. Yep, this goes in as well. So you got 4 out of 5.
It's gone. I can love Korn again.
Yes, it's all been removed. Funny enough, you and me were the only staff members of GBHBL who have done this so far. I also only got 4 out of 5.
Did you?
Lou did it on. Lou was the host that did it on me.
I thought you were going to say you only allowed yourself 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I did it on myself. No, I made sure I had someone else do it on me. So apparently it's harder than you think to do it. But yeah, not bad. I think that was good.
Yeah. No, it's good. It is good. I just wish it was real.
Yeah.
I wish they were really gone. No
only.
more slam dancing. No more paradigm shifts.
I can put my picture in, but it won't do any harm. There you go. There's our Dead Pit with Brendan. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?